All right, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to begin our next panel discussion, which is about redefining customer experience in a digital first world. Welcome back, everyone, once again. This is RISE 2024. And the exciting panel discussion where we will explore how customer experiences are being redefined in today's digital first world, in the era where digital and physical spaces intersect. Creating seamless, personalized experiences is more crucial than ever. Our panelists will today share with us their expertise on how brands are adapting to these shifts, driving engagement, and offering customers unique experiences at every touch point. Let's welcome our moderator for the session, who is Mr. Mayank Mohan, partner and Chief Executive Officer, Mohanlal Sons. Keep showing the energy because we are about to welcome our esteemed panelists one by one. Akhil Jain, Director, Jain Amar Clothing, Madam. Mr. Ankur Bhatia, Chief Executive Officer, Chogori Retail, Columbia Sportswear. Anshu Grover Bogra, CBO, Forever New Clothing. Mr. Anupam Bansal, Director, Liberty Shoes. Ashim Ashok Patil, MD and CEO, iTech RFID. Bhavprita Harshvardhan, Director, Digital Solutions, Every Denizen. Radeshwar Dawar, Country Head, New Balance. Mr. Mohan, let's begin with your insights. Check one, two.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully all of you are awake after this lunch session. Otherwise, we'll try to keep it as entertaining as possible to wake you all up. So I'm just going to request all the panelists to quickly introduce themselves in like 30 seconds. And we'll try to keep our answers short and sweet and leave 10 minutes at the end for audience questions.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Akhil Jain, Executive Director at Madam. We are a fashion retail company operating close to 200 stores in the country.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ankur Bhatia this side. I am CEO India and South Asia for Chogodi India Retail Limited. If any of you have ever done trekking, hiking, or mountaineering, you would have had some kind of interface with our company. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Anshu and I head the business for Forever New. नाम तो आप सबने सुना होगा.
Hello everyone, I am Bhavprita and I lead the solutions business for Every Denizen, which offers labeling and digital identification solutions.
Radeshwar Dawar, Country Manager for New Balance in India.
So Mayank,
New Balance doesn't need any introduction here.
Mayank, I'm taking your thing of entertaining the guests very seriously.
And I've heard you're a great entertainer also. Okay, so I'm Mayank Mohan. I'm partner and CEO Mohanlal Sons, India's oldest retailer. So starting off, the first topic we'd like to discuss is balancing digital and physical experiences as customers increasingly prefer a So the first topic we are discussing is balancing digital and physical experiences as customers increasingly prefer a blend of online and offline shopping experiences. How are us retailers adapting our in-store strategies to complement the digital initiatives and create a cohesive customer journey. So I'd like Akhil and Ankur to take this up.
So, of course, I mean, see, everything rotates around the customer, and you need to be aware who your customer is, what kind of shopping preferences or behaviors does he or she exhibit. And once you have figured that out, you would create your own roadmap, and it'll be different for every brand, and every brand has its own journey. So you'll have to create your own roadmap and try to identify what are the preferences of the customer and try to meet those preferences. And the better you do it, the more successful you would be as a retailer or a brand. Even if there is a competitor sitting right here, I might be more in the same price segment, in the same product portfolio generally. I might be more successful than any other retailer or my immediate competition if I have figured that consumer preference and I have met that in the best possible way. So of course, it really matters what the consumer wants and if we are able to cover that journey in the best possible way.
So adding to what Ankur has just said, so I always start from the base thing that the first we have to see the customer from a unified lens. So especially with retailers, especially who've been offline heavy and now getting into online or actually done the journey, and we are doing omnichannel retailing, so we are selling through marketplaces, we are selling through large format retailers, we are selling through other offline channels. But how do you crack this concept of having that unified idea of the consumer, because preferences change against demography, against the kind of retail touch point the customer is buying. Say a customer at Flipkart, my customer at Flipkart buys a lower ASP product than my customer at Myntra, and so happens at the retail store as well. So somebody buying in a tier 3 town will have different preferences buying on a tier 1 town, but vice versa, the customer who is in a tier 3 town and belongs to the higher income age group of that place, so she would not find the same product on my store, but she can always order it online. So I always say that that unified approach towards the customer in both the offline, online, and the multi-channel retailing is something that probably retailers are cracking also, and there is a lot to crack as well.
So Akhil, to that point, are all the SKUs that you keep in your offline stores, are they available online, or there are also some online exclusive SKUs that you carry?
So now it's a game of assortment. You know, as per our merchandising techniques, out of our consumer patterns, what we've seen is, so you always split your inventory between styling, like a fashion core, NOS, price grades, size availabilities. So probably everything is not available, everything that is on the store might not be available online, and everything that you see online as a catalog might not be available across all touch points. And that's why that unified approach of omnichannel retailing has come into play, because now customer can, you know, for example, as a retailer, so in India's context, so technically we are retailing from 4 in the evening till 9 in the evening. This is, इसको मैं बोलता हूँ भाड़ा से 6 घंटे का भर रहे हैं हिंदुस्तान के अंदर, because the morning customers never come to the store. So, अब that post 9 p.m. the customer is watching television, having dinner, and browsing the internet there itself. So, am I able to lure that customer who wanted to be on my store today or to a touch point? Can I lure that same customer onto my website or maybe a Myntra or maybe a Flipkart? Eventually, we have to sell the product through either of the channels.
That's a very good point. So, Bhavprita, if I can come to you, how are you helping the retailers to, you know, actually enhance their omni-channel capabilities? So, what are you doing as an organization to do that?
My organization, which is Every Denizen, it's a 90-year-old Fortune 500 company. We work with topmost retailers globally. Globally, retail and apparel brands are ahead in the curve, and technologies and trends eventually come here in India as well. I think omni-channel, which is already a reality, with e-commerce coming in, customer today is not going to the store to actually make a transaction of buying. There are multiple options available. When Amazon started Prime and 2-day delivery, that actually triggered what has culminated into 5-minute or 10 minutes delivery, which is happening. So what happens that customers' expectations have changed. There are multiple options when you, so he's not, it's no, store is no longer a place of transaction where you will pay and you will get your product. You can get the same product in 5 minutes sitting wherever actually, not even in your home. But it becomes a place to experience. And if you follow the global trends, which, we work with the Zaras of the world and everybody, stores are transforming into experience centers, and which Apple already does it very well. You don't go there to buy, you go there to experience the brand. If it is a luxury, it should give you that experience, and it can be as per the format, as per the your target audience. But what we think that what makes the difference is how you are seeing what you are providing to customer in stores, and none of it can be done without technology. Quick commerce or anything else is only possible because of adoption of technologies. And that's where they come. Technologies like RFID, in which Ivry Dennison is a pioneer, it not only solves your supply chain problems, but inventory accuracy is something, is the start of a customer experience. You cannot offer any higher experience if you cannot ensure the availability, right? So there are technologies available today already being used by top retailers at a very, very high volume. And eventually when India moves from only man to machine man and eventually machine model, you need these technologies to actually meet the expectations, the changing expectations, the expectations and the new generation, which doesn't see the stores and consumer experience as earlier. So that's what.
Thank you for that. So the next topic that we'll be discussing is personalization without overstepping. Personalization is key in enhancing customer experience, especially for the so-called Gen Z, yet privacy concerns are rising. How do you strike a balance between offering tailored experiences and respecting data privacy? I like Anshu and Radeshwar to take this.
So I'll take it first, and I'm glad this question is asked because for our business, customer is the core. So targeting the customer and overwhelming her is the last thing we would want. So we believe as a brand in personalization, as basic as going to the customer's house to sell, to WhatsApp selling, to actually adopting a lot of technology, which means that we have at Forever New segmented our customer data into cohorts. This is a full price customer, this is a markdown customer, this is an accessory customer. She only comes when there is a discount. She only comes when there's a new range. So we have customer cohorts, and that is where whenever we want to target or send a communication, we do it accordingly. We do not have a blanket message going to all our customers, which actually has improved our read rate. It has also improved our conversions. Personalization to the next level is through our own to our own website. We target different regions through different offers and different banners. So during Durga Puja, there will be a separate banner which will be visible to the to people or customers in east of India, whereas a different offer is applicable for people in West India. So personalization to that level is what we believe in. We also have a lot of other things like for example, retargeting. We know when is the customer, so we understand the customer and her journey, and we personalize our campaigns, we personalize our messaging, we personalize our offers as per what she wants. So yeah, that's when the customer is not getting overwhelmed, and we do get a very high rate of conversion and a lot of read rate, and our block rates are very, very low.
That's a very interesting observation. So the customer cohorts that you're talking about, so are you synchronizing your online and offline data for
Yes,
that?
absolutely. Okay. We believe in one single customer. One more thing which I missed out is tier 1 and tier 2. So we do pin code level targeting. We do pin code level even communication. So we know what tier 2, tier 3 would want, what is the kind of offer. So personalization to that level is where we go in.
And are you using like an in-house technology for this? Have you tied up
So
with a third party?
personalization of banners is in-house, but we have a CDP platform called Zeno that we deploy to have customer cohorts.
Thanks for the feedback. Radeshwar?
So, as the demand for personalization increases, so does the demand for data privacy. So it's a conundrum, and which is where I would coin the term, or it's already there, personalization paradox. So at one end, you want immense personalization, you want very specific information coming to you, you don't want to be bombarded with multiple messages. But at the same time, the same consumer is also very skeptical on how much and what data would they like to share. Now, the sooner the brand or organization understands this conundrum, I think that's the first step in understanding this paradox. And only then can any brand work towards solving it. The solution is never simple because there are ever evolving, changing laws. The laws and need for data privacy are stricter than ever before. There are various global governing laws which brands across have to implement. New Balance being a US-based brand, of course, such laws, privacy laws are very stringent. So what we do globally is, of course, there is always an opt-in or taking customer consent as to what and how much data can we use, where all it will be used. And there's always an opportunity which brands nowadays do provide, is saying that no longer do I need you to use my data, no longer do I want you to reach out to me. So that opt-in, opt-out system is very important. And that is where also through AI, through big tech, you can also limit who all can view and use your data, to what extent. Also, it's not available to a larger or a wider audience. So through technology, there is a lot of limitations we can put on our data usage. And at the same time, making sure that we get what we want, because as a consumer, when we see it, whatever you really want is what you want to be targeted with, not things which will make you either turn away from the app or move to some other page. So I think it's a paradox which is there to stay, and there'll always be a fine balance which brands have to maintain.
Thank you. So the next topic we'll discuss is customer feedback and adaptation. In today's day of heightened competition, both offline and online, responding to customers' needs in real time is very important. So Akhil, if you can give your feedback on how you incorporate the customer's feedback from both digital and in-store channels to continuously refine and improving the shopping experience of your customers.
Okay, so the first thing that we're actually working on is the NPS, that is called the Net Promoter Score. This is probably one of the first initial measures to understand, before knowing her preference, first knowing that does she like me or not. She would have been my customer for the first time, but will she repeat or not? The NPS is one particular measure that always, helps the organization improve as a whole. And once you have those NPSs in place, so as a brand today, we've been there for, say, about 3 decades in the market, but it's in such an evolving world. As we were discussing that millennials used to make the decision yesterday, today millennials are just the customer, the consumer is the Gen Z. So my daughter influences me to take a certain decision. So I have to create that say a paradigm or that algo between who's my customer, who's my consumer, because the feedback has to come from the consumer and not from the customer. So for example, if all of us have Amazon accounts probably, and on one Amazon account, the complete family would be shopping. So that is very tough for the brand or the retailer as a whole to understand. So they have to make that cohort as a family cohort and not as an individual cohort. So and then yes, because with this NPS, then comes the possibility of creating business customer communities. Probably for somebody as functional as Colombia, creating that community becomes slightly relevant because of the kind of products who are catered to a very different set of population, different hobbies of population. For us, creating that community is very different because my customer is too easy to influence. Because being in the fast fashion world, we have to always keep abreast of what's happening, what the competition is offering, and by competition it doesn't mean just the price or the retailer next door. Today's competition can be anyone.
So the NPS that you're talking about, can you give in more detail? How do you do that? How are you monitoring that?
So NPS starts from, you can go as extensive as possible in NPS, but the easiest way to do an NPS is, okay, break into 3. Did you like us? Did you don't, or you didn't like us? So that's a 1 and a 2. So more, you get a 1, You start working towards one, you get those two, you start working towards two, and then are the ones who actually like you, are they willing to spend more time with you against a gratification? No, nobody does anything for free today. So even if I have to lure my customer into coming to that community, or trying to make a brand understand, okay, these are my requirements which the brand is not catering, but she needs to be gratified for it. So that gratification can be in terms of product, in terms of experience, in terms of freebies. So this is how this NPS. So I'm not saying that we have cracked it, but we are on the way to to make it happen.
And I'm assuming you're using WhatsApp and SMS for this, collecting the data?
No, see, the data is collecting through the loyalty program. So, but as Ms. Bogra was also telling, now I see the mobile phone of my wife, who's probably my customer. She has about 6,100 SMSs on her phone. I'm not sure how this SMS is reaching the consumer, and we have to be actually sensitive, because that's 4,000 SMSs wasted, which my consumer did not read. And as for men as well, probably we are probably in the knack of actually seeing a lot of transactional messages. So we end up reading almost every message. But eventually we have to come out of that jinx, because ultimately what I realized through the same tool that Forever uses, we also use a similar tool. The ratio of read is very poor. So eventually the company is spending more on trying to target that customer. So we'll have to everybody's figuring out, it's a dynamic world. Every day you're figuring out something new. So for example, the moment we come on to a mobile app for our own brand, so probably can do a lot of push notifications. But then because every company was doing push notification, now the customer has the option to say, I don't want any notification from the brand or from the app. So there are challenges, and we'll keep figuring them out.
That's a good point.
Also, just adding on, the question is also how much do you want to track? Like you can have a NPS score for every touch point with the customer, right? Whether it is an exchange experience, refund experience, in-store experience, online experience, checkout experience. You have to decide how tightly do you want to control your processes so that they actually don't fail ever. And if you're not in that situation or state, which nobody is actually, it's always like a goal or a North Star. But once you have figured out your process and your limitations, then you would tend to roll out certain kind of NPS scores. And it's only that much you can actually analyze as well. In organizations also, just like he was mentioning, that there are so many unread messages, there are so many data points which as organizations we are not able to track or analyze on a day-to-day basis. So it's basically a fine balance where we have to kind of settle.
Anyone else wants to talk about this?
I also feel, and I also very strongly think in our organization that the scores, what is the objective of this score? Where do we want to really improve? So one of the metrics that we see is how many people are actually coming back to the store, to the site to shop. And that's the best way to figure out whether they are satisfied with us or not. So for us, yes, there is a CSAT score that we monitor, there is an NPS, but at the end of it, how many people are dropping out, how many people are really not buying after their first interaction is a very good indication for us to start improving. And we are able to figure out where is it that she's dissatisfied so that that action is taken. So the scores without an action is something which we tried doing it, but we realize it's really futile, and it's better to go with whether the customer is coming back to us or not.
Well, that's a very good point. Even us at Mohanlal Sons, what we do is every customer who buys, they get a feedback form instantaneously, either through SMS or WhatsApp, and we take any negative comments very seriously. So it always is better to reach out to that customer before he or she goes bombastic on social media. So you can just take care of their concerns, and actually once you satisfy I always tell this to my team, if someone is angry and you're able to get them back to the store, as you said, you're going to make a lifetime customer out of it. So Bhavprita, how are you, from an outsider's perspective, can you give us some real life examples of what you've seen retailers do, who have actually, how they have tapped into the feedback of customers, and what have they been able to do to actually have the customer engagement process run smoothly in their organizations?
Sure. So there is, this question can be answered in many ways depending on which channel you are trying to, right? So in online, I believe today the brands are created and can be destroyed in reviews. It's as simple as that. All marketing spend will not save if your average review, you can just get filtered out, right? So there is nothing, no technology can save actually, other than just being true in product and service to your promise. That's one thing. There is no getting out now, and that is what technology has enabled. Everybody will know. It's like the world, your whole colony knows what is going on in your house, right? So it's equivalent to that. In stores, nonetheless, it's still a closed world, right? So in stores, again, I will come back to RFID because that's what, through that technology, we solve problems. When the technology is taken in stores, it actually activates your multiple experiences. So I will just share an example of a use case or a product called trial room, smart trial room. So your trial room is a customer experience center for the customer and a data collection engine for the retailer, right? What is at the end retailing? Right product at the right place at the right time. How do you do that? If I talk in terms of apparel or any of it, it is just moving towards where you just have to be the right product to sell. Else you will only 60% get sold in full price. So what is important is to just know what gets sold. At the same time, customer also doesn't know. You will always see that multiple sizes are picked up, right? Multiple colors are picked up. And you go and try. This is one thing in apparel and lifestyle categories online cannot solve because you need to see it on you. And you take it to the trial room. Now, trial room is where conversion happens. What gets picked up from the racks to the trial room, what gets dropped at the trial room, what gets out at the trial room, and what gets dropped at the POS. Will is the key to your knowing what actually sells and what customer wants. It starts actually at the back store because when you identify at a unit level, you will know what is at the back store. You will not run out because of the sizes and color. You will know what has to be there always. And preferences you will capture in smart trial room. And many retailers who are ahead, they use this technology to do that. You will be ahead of the competition simply because you have cracked the code that what actually is wanted.
Sounds so easy, that right product at the right place at the right time, but it's the challenge I think all of us are struggling with day in, day out. So the next topic we'll be talking about is leveraging technology thoughtfully. Many retailers today are hesitant to fully embrace new technologies. We are like everyone else, all humans are resistant to change, unfortunately. So what specific technologies have we have all been able to find most effective in enhancing the customer experience without overwhelming our operations? So if Anshu and Ankur can take this up.
Yeah, see, we're constantly evaluating technologies in terms of how much of use and how much of investment do they require from our side. Because there's a plethora, and there has been a plethora for the last many years because technology is changing so fast that actually retailers are running behind it. Most of them are, at least we are. So we really need to understand the underlying benefit of the technology for the customer. Right, and then decide whether it's actually going to have any meaningful impact for the customer or not. Generally speaking, technology investments, while we have done a lot, and at the end of the day, it's about the balance sheet and where do those IT investments or technology investments actually fall. They cannot be margin eroding because there are so many other things which are not in our control, which are already margin eroding, that we are really, IT is actually then the only thing which we can control, whether to invest or not. Having said that, everybody is talking about AI, everybody has been talking about RFID, omnichannel capabilities for the last many years, and I would say that all of these technologies have been implemented in a lot of businesses and are at various stages of the business growth. But what impact they have, we really need to develop those metrics internally in terms of, say, customer satisfaction, in terms of timely delivery, in terms of sell-throughs, in terms of profitability. So we need to have those KPIs first in place to identify whether that technology investment actually had any meaningful impact for anybody in the ecosystem, any stakeholder. So that's the crux, basically.
So Taking a cue from that, I would say we believe in basics, basic technology to make sure that the customer has the right product. The entire assortment is exposed to the customer and she gets it fast. So these are the 3 points, and we have invested in these 3 technologies. RFID, great. One is implementing Omni. So making sure that all customers have visibility of the entire system inventory through Omni, and then making sure that there is a hyperlocal logistics in place and she gets her product within a day. So once you have the basics right, the customer is happy. I believe if she gets the right product, size, and at the right time, she's ours. Rest, everything is fluff.
Anshu, can you give an example of how you are using Omni at your stores?
Okay. So Omni we have activated at our own website. So a customer who comes to our website can see the entire system's inventory. So she has a wider width and the depth. So, and with Myntra. So these are 2 portals that we are at. And we have seen that our sales has actually jumped by double. They've become 2x. With Omni, so it's very good tool for inventory optimization. So a store has that inventory, it's not able to sell all of it. So Omni really helps in creating high EBITDAs also for stores. So the customer is happy, the stores are happy, and we take the money back.
See, then again, the question is where we are actually. Because if somebody buys a Columbia shirt or a jacket from one of our stores and wants to return it, say in America, in the States, it's not possible. Their invoice numbers we don't recognize, our invoice numbers we don't recognize. So it's not truly Omni. Can it be returned as close as, say, in any of our wholesale channels? It can't be. Again, the customer has to write an email to our customer care and we have to facilitate that journey. So we are basically somewhere in between, where at least through our own owned channels, maybe add Myntra to that, we are able to facilitate in some way some kind of omni-channel experience for the customer, but not 100%.
Yes, because we are a company-owned, company-run business, it becomes very easy for us. But yes, if you have wholesalers and many other distribution channels, it's extremely difficult. But Myntra being very high on tech, we've been able to integrate that system and that experience with them.
Is it international as well?
No,
It's not.
we are not.
Fair.
Anyone else would like to talk about this? Great. So Bhavprita, can you give us some examples on how you have supported retailers in this digital transformation, or any examples that you can share with us?
So we have solved, digital transformation is a very, I will say one of the most, the word which can include anything and everything, right? Today, any transformation is digital transformation because you do it through technology. But again, I'll go back to what I was sharing. A technology which actually has been most used in retail. Even though it's in full steam, yet to come to India and yet to be adopted. But what we have seen globally, 80% of RFID adoption is actually in retail and apparel. 20 years back, Walmart could not have achieved its scale of what it is. So it is matter of time, and this is one true technology, RFID, which actually transforms the supply chain network from factory to distribution center to stores. There wouldn't be any equivalent technology. If you talk about normally digital transformation will fall on software side, but there is no technology, equivalent technology, which can actually as truly transform your supply chain, your man, material, and machines. So your every part gets transformed. Right at the factory, when your products are packed, there is a use case called scan and pack. At that time, you will know that your garment has been packed, and that's how actually gaps of the world and they operate, because at that volume you cannot. That's where inefficiency enters your system. So your inbound is solved at the outbound of the factory, right? And then you have RFID in distribution center. Your inbound, sorting, outbound, all happens through RFID. So, but you are already removing the inaccuracy at the factory level. Whatever is remaining gets caught there. And then it goes to the store. It is the purest form of inventory data which enters your store. And then you apply it to the consumer use cases. You have a fast checkout. You will reduce, nobody wants to wait in the line, right? Amazon has brought in just walkout, where you don't even need to scan. You will enter with your credit card data, and you can see it in if you visit NRF and others. And you just pick up your stuff and go out. So that's where it is going. So it's a true digital transformation, and I'm saying from experience of seeing it happening. We will eventually, if we have to grow, achieve India's ambitions, we will need that, that growth will give that scale, and retail is the engine of economy, right?
Can you give an example of an Indian company that has adopted it very well?
Yes, Indian company, everybody is seeing, I will say if there is one star of retail and also stock market, what it is? Zudio. Zudio the business started with RFID. In fast fashion, if you do not know what is selling at that price points, you cannot make money. The scale the technology has directly enabled it. Aditya Birla is adopting now. All top retailers are adopting because there is already value being realized. It is only a matter of time.
Thank you for the insights. So another topic that we're discussing today is adapting to evolving customer expectations. With consumer preferences shifting rapidly, especially post-pandemic, I would like the panel's opinion and what changes have they made to better meet these expectations, particularly for convenience and service quality. If Radeshwar, you can take this up.
So post-pandemic, of course, an immense need of personalization, health and well-being being the forefront of it, experience. So it's all about experiencism. People have realized that no matter how much you have earned, if you've not really experienced that, or you have not taken care of your health, it's only going to get you so far. And that's something which, for the athleisure industry overall, I mean, we all witnessed exponential growth in that industry, health and well-being. Being an athleisure, a sports brand, New Balance, we also saw that growth last few years across the globe. In India, of course, we are still starting out. This is our first year of operations in India as a direct subsidiary. But globally, what we have seen is tremendous growth and a very clear consumer focus on exactly what they need, the speed at which they need. So now, and of course, India is disruptive when it comes to tech. You have many retail brands now also on quick commerce. Whether to be, not to be, it's only a matter of time before everyone, the moment a trend picks up, there's substantial business. As Ankur mentioned, it's all about the P&L, and if there's business on the table, people will go for it. So speed is a major factor, convenience is a major factor, and these shifts have been very, very prominent, and all brands are working towards making sure that they're able to give the right product at the right time or any time the customer wants it.
Anyone else who would like to talk about this?
Well, I think there's so much of PE money chasing so many startups, and they are innovating at scale so rapidly that the most traditional businesses like ours would have to constantly be on the lookout to identify that next winner and hop onto that bandwagon and pray to God that it ends at the right place, like quick commerce, right? Like AI, like so many other things in the technology space or logistics or maybe marketing, digital marketing, which are enabled by AI. So many things are happening that you always have to be on the lookout, basically.
Talking about quick commerce, is anyone here on quick commerce? And if they are, please share your experience so far. Anyone there? No, not as yet. Okay. So Bhav Pratap, if you can also give us some real-life examples of how companies are measuring customer experience. If you can share maybe a couple of stories with us, or how you are enabling them to do that.
So we wouldn't, I would say that your customer, we talked about it, I think we discussed other metrics, right? So those are, so you have standard metrics across industries, how you want to measure, but customer lifetime value is the real metric, right? So you will measure that, but that's a lagging indicator, right? And that's an output of a metric. You can, it's not an input. So you measure that, but you're only over a period of time and by knowing that what is the lifetime value. Because if that is good, then you are doing almost all things right. In today's time of options, channels, brands, there is D2C, every alphabet to alphabet, everything is there, right? You are able to, if capture that value, that means that that's your ideal customer. And I would say companies, most of the bigger and advanced companies use all the technologies, all the processes, everything to eventually, that is one metric which is always shining for the, you can say, the leading brands. And
So for the benefit of our audience, can you explain how would one measure that, the customer lifetime value?
I would let others also, I think the retailers actually who are doing directly, but essentially what it means is that how much, how much revenue you get from a customer over a period of time. So it's your, and there is a formula there, but what it means that who is your loyal customer, returning customer, and how, if you just cumulatively, what you get out of a customer. So once you have personalized, you have applied all those strategies, that's what eventually you will measure, what you get out of a customer.
So we don't need any fancy technology to measure it then.
One of the metrics that we do not look at, we should look at for customer experience, which we do, is what is my full price sales. If my full price sales is higher and my sell-throughs are higher, it's a good indicator of saying that my customer is coming back and picking up a product at full price. So experience is not only measured in terms of a NPS or a CSAT, but all these indicators are very good matrices to know that, okay, we might fall and fail in a few places, but if these three matrices are in place, then we are home.
See, at the end of the day, it's also about it's also about the sentiment or the emotions which the customer displays or feels, which no technology can actually till date measure like 100% correctly. So you can only guess that sentiment or how he felt or how was that last mile interaction with the delivery staff, that quick commerce delivery staff, or with the sales staff who's standing 1,000 kilometers from here. Whether he or she felt good after that interaction. It's not just about the product, there is a service element also. So whenever there is service, there will be variations to it as well. So you need to really capture that sentiment and try to make sense of it. And then all your metrics will start falling in place, whether it is NPS, whether it is customer lifetime value, or whichever metric you want to devise for your own business.
I think with the advent of so much technology available, then you can have you can have analytics of customers walking in through your video streams. You have RFID to understand why the customer picked up a product. Probably, I think with so much of data coming in, I think two things as retailers we need to do is, one, to understand what is to be done with this data, because then you have so many cubes, data is coming from loyalty, from e-commerce, PIN codes, video analytics, RFID, conversions, sales, etc., etc. So probably what I think is I think actually need to keep rewriting the KPIs of business every now and then, because the customer is so evolving. I mean, at times, with people who are into multi-chain retail, so customer is coming at one store, picking up from the other store, returning at the third store. So that journey, as today, I'm not sure how can it be mapped, but probably if we keep rewriting the KPIs every now and then, suited to that particular thing, probably we'll stay relevant. The only agenda is to stay relevant in today's changing world and competition.
Very valid point, Akhil. So I would like to now open the forum to the audience. Any questions would be welcome. Anyone? Any questions?
If there are no questions, means we have done our job very well.
Ahead of time.
Yes, Mr. Singh.
Thank you. I'm Ajay Singh. My question to Mr. Dawa, actually. Mr. Dawa, the brand has come in India as the third time, and I think New Balance itself, company has come in the first time. First two times with somebody else, right? So would you follow the same traditional channel, or will you go for some new, establish the channel like retail or something? How would be the strategy to enter into the market? Since you are in this third time, so you must have very good experience as far the brand is concerned. So will you just elaborate for the future for your brand?
Sure, thank you for the question. So as you rightly pointed out, we've entered as a fully owned subsidiary as the first time. Before that, it was more of a wholesale model through various franchise partners, etc. So yes, we do have learnings from there. We do have some data because they've been there for a while. We've used those data. We've used the geographic presence that we have with those retailers. And now we are expanding into newer markets. So this year, pretty much every month, we've opened a new store, effectively in a new city. And by end of the year, we would have more than doubled our store count what it was until beginning of the year. Focus remains on building retail, but of course, e-commerce being in India, it is the fastest growing channel. It is where our customers are shopping. So we will continue to have a strong presence on the multi-brand e-commerce platform, but the focus remains on growing our bricks and mortar business. I hope that answers the question.
Any other questions? Okay, so I would like to thank all of the panelists for an engaging session. It was a tough job trying to wake up everyone post-lunch, but I think you guys did a great job. And thank you, audience, for being here.